Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Galactic News Center, the show where we talk everything and anything Star Wars. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this at this point, but if you have not yet seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, please do click away because this video does contain major spoilers. Now, today we're going to be talking about whether or not Luke Skywalker is Rey's father. One of the biggest questions we were left with after seeing Episode 7 was the origins of Rey, and we got to see a little bit into her life through the flashback sequence when she touched Luke Skywalker's lightsaber at Maz Kanata's palace, and that flashback is probably the primary source of evidence that I'm going to be using to justify that Rey is indeed a Skywalker. First off, the fact that the lightsaber called to Rey, as Maz said, why would the lightsaber of Anakin that eventually called to Luke now call to Rey if there wasn't some connection between Anakin, Luke, and Rey? I feel like it's a family connection. That is why the lightsaber calls to each of them. And by saying that the lightsaber had passed down from father to son was pretty much implying that there was a family history with the lightsaber, and that Rey was the continuation of that family line. Also, the vision itself had a lot of images that only Luke would have been able to see. Rey found herself in the tunnel at Cloud City where Luke fought Darth Vader for the first time, and I feel like the fact that she had access to those memories that through the lightsaber, and I don't see how those memories could be passed to Rey if she was not related to Luke in some fashion. I feel like those memories were passed to her through the lightsaber because of her family connection to Luke. That one aspect of the vision that caused some people to go on a different path is that at one point the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi calls out to Rey. Now, I know some people are saying that that is evidence that somehow Rey is related to Obi-Wan and that somehow Rey is of the Kenobi line. I don't really put too much water into that theory just because Obi-Wan was a pretty by the books Jedi, and what I mean by that is he might not have agreed with the Jedi Code in every aspect. He definitely had a close relationship with Anakin, probably closer than most of the council wanted him to have. But for the most part, he followed the rules, and he was pretty strict about the rules of the Jedi. So I don't think, randomly after Revenge of the Sith, sometime between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope on Tatooine, that Obi-Wan Kenobi just decided to go off and have a kid and then give her away to somebody. It would be hard to pass that theory along and kind of explain that theory to people. So what we saw in the original trilogy, that Ben called out to Luke multiple times throughout the Force, and I believe that that's kind of the continuation of that with Rey because he knows that she is Luke's daughter. Like the way that Obi-Wan called out to Luke several times, I feel like that's just a rehash with Rey. Now the question remains that if Luke's Rey's father, why did he leave her on Jakku? And to that, I would say that Rey was present at the Jedi Academy with Luke and was training to become a Jedi. Now I know that's also a point of contention. Like, why would you just drop your kid off on Jakku and leave? To me, I think the most logical reason after seeing the movie a couple times is that Rey was exposed to some Force training with Luke, that she had met Luke before. And the more I watched the movie, the more I said that because at some point, Rey knows how to do Jedi mind tricks, or she at least is aware of Jedi mind tricks. So I feel like she has at least some exposure to the Force. She's had some sort of workings with the Force, some sort of training, no matter how remedial the training was, no matter how minute, she was exposed to it in some way. And that's why I believe that she was present at Luke's academy. Obviously, when Kylo Ren turned against Luke, I believe Luke lost faith in his own abilities to train Jedi, and he realized that his daughter was equally powerful in the Force as Kylo Ren, who had just turned against him, so he probably sent Rey to another planet before going into hiding in the hope that she wouldn't suffer the same fate that Kylo Ren did. Because obviously, if you're training Jedi and you have a nephew that is just as strong in the Force as your daughter is, and he turns to the dark side and kills all the Jedi you were trying to train, obviously you'd be a little concerned that your own daughter would do the same. So that's why I think she was left on Jakku. I don't know if we're going to find out whether or not Rey is Luke's daughter or not in the next movie. It might be an episode 9 thing, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, whether or not you think Rey is Luke's daughter. If you don't, tell me why. Respectfully in the theories in the comments below. If you want to see more Star Wars content, think about subscribing. As always, join me, and together we will rule the galaxy.